What's up, guys? Welcome to the video here on how to build cabinets. Specifically, cabinets for your garage, or at least this is how I'm going to do it. And oh my God, these are like kitchen style cabinets, but I saw it on YouTube. I made a couple before, and it's pretty simple. You only need one approximately $700 table saw. You don't need that miter saw. It could be useful. You can use one of these circular saws. Pocket screws. You need the jig for the pocket screws, which is, where the hell did I put it? Oh my Lord, it's that pocket hole jig. Clamps. You need a lot of clamps. Pipe clamps are pretty cheap for the long ones, you know. You can sell these at Harbor Freight. Got a lot of Harbor Freight stuff. This made by Harbor Freight, pretty good. This Bremen clamps. Got some right here as well. They make them in 2 feet and 4 feet maybe. Yeah, just a bunch of clamps. So let me try and go over here. The base of a cabinet, so how I make them. Once again, I did learn this on YouTube, so there's probably some dude on YouTube who made these, but I'm gonna do my own version, which is the same version. So this cabinet, all these cabinets are 31. Hold on 1 second. So the height of these cabinets is 31 3/4 without the kicker plate down there. The kicker plate, I made it 3 1/2, which you can use 2x4s like I did here. This is the garage here. I use 2x4s, but since this garage slopes down, it's kind of a long one. I put shims under it to keep it level. Well, that's how it is. 31 3/4 for your height, and then once you put the plywood and the countertop on, it should come out to, let's see, the height is 36 1/2. That's with the kicker and the countertop on top of it. Because on top of this skeleton, you put on a 1/2-inch piece of plywood, and that's where you glue the countertop onto that. But I don't have it glued just because I don't need to, because it's a garage. What's the worst that could happen? You could probably also make these for your kitchen. Yeah, and this 3/4 inch plywood with the veneer, I think that's what it's called, cabinet. I'm not sure what it's called. It's just the nice cabinet wood. It's nice and shiny, as you can see. Nice and shiny. I didn't get this at Home Depot. I'm sure Home Depot sells maybe something similar, but I'm not sure if they sell finished like this. And a 3/4 inch plywood for that. So 31 3/4 tall, and the depth is 23 1/2. And then you add this 3/4 inch poplar. Oh my God, I just hit that with my tape measure. 3/4 inch poplar for the faces. So for that, you just cut them to length here and just glue them. First, you pocket hole them together. See, they're pocket holes together, and then I just throw some glue on here, and then just nail them in. I think I use 18 gauge nails. You just have to fill them in with some wood filler. Once again, let me give you a PSA. That means public service announcement. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Just saw a YouTube video, right? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. We're just gluing shit. And it's working. And then you cut this support pieces. These are 4 inches wide. You probably do 3 1/2. Honestly, I'll probably do that because that's what I cut those to, so I can just have strips of 3 1/2 inch ready to go, which is what I have here. 3 1/2 inch strips. You cut them to size here. Pocket hole them in. I got 4 of them. two on the back, two on the top. And in order to glue all these together, as you can see here, go back to this example. Since this cabinet is going to be 36 inches wide from outside to outside, I cut, since they're all being glued together, I cut a 1/2 inch deep by 3/4 inches wide, so this plywood can sit in it. It's a 1/2 inch deep, so the walls just sit on top of the plywood, and you glue the ends to this. So there's a 1/4 left on this original plywood, and this just slides into it. So 3/4 inches height, 1/2 inch deep, and you do that to glue them all together. And this one has it on the top and the bottom because this is a top cabinet, and I'm not going to put like plywood on top of it. This one's going to put plywood on top because the counter goes on top of it like this. But on these, it's finished. So when you look up in there, you see the finished wood. So I'm going to cut it first at 23.5 inches. Because that's what, where the hell did I put? There it is. I'm going to cut it at 23.5 inches wide. Because that's going to give me half of this. And that's the best way to use that. Because vacuum. Did you notice I forgot my safety glasses? So I'm risking my life in this. I hope I survive. I'm just going to cut all the pieces down already since I already have the size. 1, 2. So I got 2 more pieces of plywood to cut. And I might as well do it now. So, cut these all to 23.5. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces from 3 pieces of plywood. That makes sense. So the next step is to cut it. Let me think real hard. Hold on, I have this down in my notes. All right. We need to cut it 31 3/4 inch height in the height, because then I'm gonna make a separate kicker plate, 3.5 inches. It's just 2x4. Nothing fancy here. Or I could use plywood. Here's one piece. So those side pieces I just cut are right here. And I'm gonna cut a notch in them, a 1/2 inch notch on each one. So it's 3/4 inch plywood. So a quarter is left over. And since the whole total width is 36, this bottom piece we take away 1/2 inch because a quarter from each side, so it's 35 1/4, and we just glue them together. So 35.5 is what I need for the base. So for 3/4, I need 2 spacers. So I imagine, how do I cut this? So just 3 spacers, huh? That's good. So now we're ready. Uh-oh. That did not look good. What the hell just happened? Oh my God. That's scary. So, that's how it came out. That's pretty good. I think I could probably, no, that's perfect. And the base is gonna sit in there. So it's flush down there and it sits like that. And then I'll glue the sides and clamp them together. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. They're cut at 3/4 inches wide to put the plywood on it, and 1/2 inch deep. So there's a quarter left over out of this 3/4 plywood, and then the base plywood just sits in here. So it's gonna come out 3/4 from the back. So I'll remove this plywood right now. That's about 3/4. So it's gonna be that far from the back, and then we'll get a 1/4 inch slot, which is the plywood. We're gonna insert the back because the back doesn't need to be. It does not need to be 3/4 because it doesn't need to be that strong. So this is the 1/4 inch plywood. And once we make that slot in the back of these, once we glue them together, we just insert this in. And then we have it done pretty much. The base, the cabinet skeleton, I guess. So I need 5. Boy, this is where I messed up. 5 on the left side, 5 on the right side. So 5 with the cut looking down. Let's see if I remember that. That's how it's gonna go. It's gonna have a 1/2 inch on the, or the 1/4 slot in the bottom too. So we have 5. Shut this off. So we have 5 like this. If you're looking at it from the front, this is the back right. So when I cut these other ones, I'm gonna cut them with this notch up, so it's gonna be the back left. I have messed that up before, so don't do that. Don't mess that up. You see these notches line up so that it can sit, you can see how that's gonna glue there together. And all the weight of the cabinet's gonna sit, obviously there's a gap right now, I need to adjust it and clamp it, but it's gonna sit on this piece of wood, so it should be pretty damn strong. And let me get it done. I need glue and clamps. And I have clamps out my ass. And I got clamps right here. Got that big boy clamps. Oh my God. It's just some glue. I don't know what kind is better than others, but this is the one I picked up at the Home Depot. Probably better to use your finger. I did not want to use my finger. Yeah, but I have to. No! Okay. Nice. Side. This is how I put the glue. More is better than not enough. And then you can clean off the bottom once you squeeze it. It's probably best to clean up. Bottom doesn't really matter too much than the inside. You want it more on the wall. Actually, you want it all on the wall. Then you can always wipe off the extra just behind your little table here. I forgot to take this off. Okay, there we go. To save the edges from being messed up, I have these extra pieces from cutting the plywood originally. Just those long skinny pieces, and I just put it right there. Pipe clamps. There we go. Three clamps is super strong. Move this out to the edge more. All right. I'm just gonna set this down on the floor. Oh my God, what did I hit? So I got all the cabinets glued up overnight. This is how I left them. You can see I got 3 clamps on each one. There they are. These are two 36-inch. One of them is 2 foot. One of them is 2.5 feet. This one's a foot. And I messed up on this one, like I always mess up, because I cut this line that's supposed to be here. I cut it on the wrong side the first time, so I went the long ways on accident. And when I clamped it, it like broke off that piece. But it should be fine. So for the back panel, what you want to do is, since the inside of this is 31 inches from the bottom base to the top, you just take off a quarter. So it'll be 30 3/4. You cut this back piece. You cut this back piece at 30 3/4. So you pretty much just take off a quarter, because a quarter is going to sit down in this groove, and the piece of wood that goes up here, hold on, it's going to be like this. But it's also going to have a 1/4 inch slot. So it's going to sit in this piece of wood, and we just pocket holes, screw it into the sides, and that's how you get that perfect cut. You can cut this slightly longer and just make this slightly longer than a 1/4 inch depth, just so you know you're sure that it sits in there and you don't see any daylight. Well, you're probably not gonna. It's a base cabinet either way. But yeah, look, it sits in there like that. It ain't going nowhere. So I cut out 4 pieces for each cabinet. For their size, I measured from here to here. These are all that. So 2 pocket holes, and then just jam it up in here, and then just screw in. And the one there, one up here. We'll put this one first, because this one's gonna have a slot in it, like this. So that way, this panel sits inside of this piece. You see how it just sits on top for now? It'll set in once I cut that slot. And then, yeah, I'll do the same with pocket holes. So 4, so 1 here, 1 here, 1 up here, and 1 up here in the front. So here's the cabinet all put together, sort of, almost. So pocket holes up top. So it's 4 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one has the slot cut in it, so it sits. This piece of wood sits inside of it. Looking pretty solid. I put 3 trim screws. Where are they? Yeah, I got 3 of them in each one, all on the back side. So from this to here, and from the bottom of this baseboard up to here. And that's pretty much so when you screw it in to the wall, from in here you throw some screws into the studs, and it has a lot more support. And yeah, it looks pretty good, right? I gotta do all these. And make the, I forget what this piece is called. And make the base. Like that. All right, let me get to it. So this piece go on here. I only need 2 holes. I did 3 just because I was messing around with this stuff. But yeah, it'll sit in there. It will sit in there, and then I'll use a clamp. Hold on. So once you clamp it, you kind of just make it level. Front and the back. Make sure it's flat. And then you just clamp it down and screw them in. So 1 here, 1 under it, 1 down here, and 1 at the front on all these. Do not screw that in too tight. I have it set to whatever 14 means. You don't want it going in too tight. It's going to break this wood and it's going to go through. It's going to be a whole thing. You don't need it that tight. Just tight enough. Nice. So pretty much most of the frame is done here. For the kicker plate, I went back 2 inches for your feet to go in, and I went 2 inches on the side here because this one's gonna go on the edge right here, sort of like this one, because you want to walk up to it, you want to put your feet under it, you can get closer to it. So to make this face, I'm using I think it's 1.5 by 3/4 poplar, and I run it through the, what is this thing called? I already forgot. I forget what it's called, but it makes it flat. So when you glue them together side to side, you have flat edges. So you're gonna need, you don't need that. So I'm cutting these at 31 3/4, which is the height of the cabinet. And I put my vise there so I can use that as a stop point and just cut it. There's some splintering here, but we'll just sand that off. Nice little light sand. Yeah, I need to do that because I need a lot of them. I need 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I need 10. Like that, and then some on the inside, and you just glue them together. So for the faces, once you cut the sides, you glue them together just like this. Wha-bam! So I cut the size of the height to the size of the cabinet. You can probably underhang a little bit. That won't matter too much. And then side to side. So I did the whole width of the cabinet minus 3 inches because this is 1.5 inches. So you take away 3 to get this size. But just make sure when you cut them, test fit them. So cut it bigger, then smaller, test fit them to make sure it'll sit like flush. Or you want it to sit a little bit out because that's better than too far in. A little bit out is fine. You can always just sand it or just leave it like that, honestly. But, yeah. So these are all cabinet ones. I haven't done these yet. But this one's drawers. So for drawers, you gotta pre-measure how big you're gonna make your drawers. Because I'm using undermount sliders. They're gonna sit up here, they connect here and back there. So you know, it's gonna be 4 here. And this is also a cabinet, and that's the cabinet, so yeah. So once you glue them together, well, pocket hole them. You pocket hold them on the side, and then you throw them on here with some clamps. Actually, you don't really need clamps, you just throw one side on, nail it, well, throw the glue on here, then nail it. Yeah, it should look something like this. I still need to fill them and sand them. But yeah, that's pretty much how you do your base cabinets. And then I'll show you in some other video how to make the doors. How to make doors and how to make drawers. Doors and drawers. Doors and drawers. Also, I have to make shelving. Now you might be thinking, you're dumb, you didn't make the holes beforehand. And yeah, I am dumb. But it'll work out either way. Pretty cool, huh? What was I gonna show you? Yeah, doors. Oh, here's a shelving. See how to make these holes in here? But since it's so big, I don't know, these kind of suck, so I need to throw these under because they were falling out of this hole. Might have been the ones I was using for here because they kind of course, I bought the cheap ones. And yeah, this one needs to get reworked because I messed up, but I'll show you later. Yeah, that's pretty much the end of this video.